राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारि।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरवनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Shri Radhe.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev,
Jai
Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, 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 Gurudev.
जय जय श्री राधा माधव भगवान की
Jai.
जय। श्री गौरनिताई की
Jai.
जय
जय। जगतगुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
जय
पतित पावन श्रीपाद महाराज की जय।
Jai.
अनंत कोटि
जय
वैष्णव जय।
Jai.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
Om
नमो
Namo Bhagavate
भगवते
Vasudevaya.
वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo
ओम नमो
Bhagavate
भगवते
Vasudevaya.
वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं
Narayanam
नमस्कृत्य
Namaskritya
Naram chaiva narottamam
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
Devim
नरं चैव
Saraswatim
नरोत्तमं
Vyasam
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
Tato
देवीं
Jayamudirayet
ततो
ततो
जयमुदीरये
Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu
नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
अभद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नित्यं भागवत
भागवत
सेवया
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
भगवती उत्तम श्लोकी
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
भक्ति भवती नैष्ठिकी।
Welcome everyone. Today we are going to study from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 17, Shloka number 20. Gun Pravaha etasmin
गुण प्रवाह एतस्मिन्
Kaha Shapaha ko Nvanugraha
वैशापकोन्वनुग्रह
Kaha Swargo Narko ko
वैसर्गो नरको वा
Kim Sukham Dukhameva va.
किं सुखं दुःखमेव वा।
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
जय।
jai, jai. This material world resembles the waves of a constantly flowing river. Therefore, what is a cause and what is a favor? Therefore, what is a curse and what is a favor? What are the heavenly planets and what are the hellish planets? What is actually happiness and what is actually distress? Because the waves flow constantly, none of them has an eternal effect. Purport. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Miche Mayara Yacha Beshe, Kacha, Habudubu Bhai. My dear living entities within this material world, why are you being carried away by the waves of the modes of material nature? Jiva Krishna Das, A Vishwas, Karle Tara Dukhanai. If the living entity tries to understand that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, there will no longer be misery for him. Krishna wants us to give up all other engagements and surrender unto him. If we do so, where will be the cause and effect for the surrendered soul? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this regard that being put into this material world is like being thrown into a mine of salt. If one falls into a mine of salt, he tastes only salt wherever he goes. Similarly, this material world is full of miseries. The so-called temporary happiness of this world is also misery. But in ignorance, we cannot understand this. That is the actual position. When one comes to his senses, when he becomes Krishna conscious, he is no longer concerned with the various conditions of this material world. He is not concerned with happiness or distress, curses or favors, or heavenly or hellish planets. He sees no distinction between them. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjansalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Sarup Damodar Swami Niti Namine Nama Sadbhakta Manayaha Mani Purudbhavaya Cha Prabhupadala Sadvani Prachara Niritayate Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. I welcome all of you, and I like to offer my most humble obeisances to all Maharajis. Then I will offer my obeisances to all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis and everyone else present in this meeting, everyone present in this gathering. Please bless me You have already blessed me. That's why I could recover. But the post-COVID effects are still there. So I may falter. Please excuse me for that today. So in the translation, it is said this material world resembles a waves of a constantly flowing river. The wave, nowadays, this word is very usual. Everyone is familiar with this word wave. I mean, also they were, but now this second wave of corona is going on. Then the third wave will come, and I don't know how many waves are still to come. But waves of corona or not corona, this material world is actually place of many misery-giving waves, and there is no groove like in an ocean in Puri. If you have taken bath in Puri, that ocean, so there are many big waves, but then ultimately those waves sometimes may bring you to the shore, and sometimes they may also take you with them. But this material world is actually full of such kind of waves which definitely they are no swingers. They just take us deep inside the hellos, the dungeons of this material world. These are the waves here in this material world. Uh, so these turbulent waves, they may look like swingers to us, like in a roller coaster ride. We may be attracted to the roller coaster. For that matter, many people find the waves in an ocean also to be very attractive. They surf on the waves. So in this way, those waves may be swingers, but these waves are no swingers. These waves are only misery-giving waves. And in this ocean of material world, there is no groove. Groove is a groove, right? Or there is no plateau, or there is no resting ground. There is no shore for non-devotees, for conditioned living entities. So, but we are still, we are not taking any lesson from this plethora of miseries. And at this time, all the miseries seem to have fallen from the sky at the same time. The virus and now the fungus. In our school days, we read that these three microorganisms are there: bacteria, fungus, and virus. So at this time, all the three, they are leashing their fury on us. All three, my goodness. वायरस तो है, ये फंगस भी आ गया, और साइक्लोन सब आ रहे हैं. So there are micro miseries in the form of cyclones. So devotees in Odisha and Bengal, please be careful. And everyone else, please be careful of this corona wave. And please be careful of this material world also, irrespective of whether there are these manifested waves or not. Actually, the thing is, as Srila Prabhupada is saying, this happiness, which we call happiness, which seem to be very lucrative, is actually that period, that interregnum, that period where the waves become unmanifest. They are there, but they become unmanifest. They're pretty much there. We are living in an ocean of waves, but sometimes the waves become unmanifest, or because of our ignorance, we don't see the waves hanging around. So therefore, we call that moment to be a very happy moment. But that is purely because of our ignorance, which again is on account of our stubborn and resolute nature. And we are so resolute to imitate God. God by definition, Krishna by definition is the sole enjoyer. He's enjoyer by definition. Okay. So, and we by definitions are the facilitators, servants. We are supposed to facilitate him in his enjoyment. He's a beneficiary. So instead, if we replace him, and instead we ourselves want to become the enjoyer, then that is the root of ignorance. In fact, that is the ignorance. Because we have done such gadbad, havoc with the definitions, right? We have completely contradicted a definition. We are servants, and instead if we want to become the enjoyer, so we land in this material world. And here Prakriti, Durga Mataji is waiting for us, and she's punishing us. You eternal servants of my Lord Krishna, you want to enjoy like him? Let's see how this is going to be possible. Welcome in this ocean of turbulent and very, very drastic waves. I am going to teach you that this is a very wrong idea which you chose to enjoy like Krishna. Rather than enjoying the service to Krishna, you're trying to enjoy being like him. I am going to see how that is going to be possible. So that is Durga Mata. She is giving us these threefold miseries in the form of these waves, Corona wave and so many waves. Sometimes they become manifest and sometimes they are unmanifest. So she is punishing us, right? For so that, but because of our stubborn nature, we are so obstinate. Our insistence is so deep rooted. We want to enjoy. That enjoyment is so deep rooted that even these miseries, they won't give us sufficient lesson. Matlab, it may sound insensitive. I'm not trying to be insensitive. Right now, the whole world is suffering, and it really breaks the heart when we see that people are dying, people are leaving, and they are close by, can't do anything. But even with these so much sufferings, once the wave is gone, and or which means they are unmanifest, waves are never gone. When they become unmanifest, and this world again starts looking superficially a happy place, again the living entities will forget these miserable times, and they will again be, you know, they will again be set on with their um, enjoyment spree. So rather than taking lessons from these miseries, from these miserable times, the living entity won't stop imitating the supreme enjoyer Krishna. That is the problem. We don't seem to learn from this temporary fleeting nature of this material world. Even sometimes practicing devotees like us, we also don't seem to take sufficient lessons from this you know turn of events. So how do we explain this? Why do we not take sufficient lesson? That because that also requires mercy. Yes, this is Gyan, that this material world is a miserable place. It is not a happy place. It is Gyan. It is a very basic Gyan, right? It is knowledge. So to have any kind of knowledge, we have to depend on mercy from Vaishnavas, from pure devotees, from Krishna. So because majority of the populace is bereft of this mercy, therefore their resolute nature of enjoying like Krishna will never fade. And so therefore that's our job. That is our job, the job of the devotees, that to remind them and um, and remind ourselves. But we ourselves as practicing neophyte devotees, the problem with us is that we also um, sometimes are at the receiving end because of our offensive nature. You know, we do acknowledge that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, we are servants. But between Krishna and us are many, many wonderful devotees on whose mercy our existence depends. But on the contrary, if we offend them and we in this way make ourselves bereft of the reception of their mercy is flowing all the time. But if we deprive ourselves being the humble recipients of that mercy, then again this material world will stop looking like a miserable place. Uh, Miserable place. You know, it will stop looking like a miserable place. Just give me a second, please. It will stop looking like a miserable place. It will again. So sometimes therefore we should ask this question ourselves, that when we started this bhakti movement, that time we were completely conversant with this idea that this miserable world is not a happening place. But what has happened now? Why is this material world appearing so lucrative even with so many onslaughts? And the answer is given by this episode of Maharaj Chitraketu being purged by Mata Parvati, Durga Mata. Um, this episode has got two versions, apparent and real versions. The apparent is one which should give us lessons, and real we'll see shortly. Apparent is that Maharaj Chitraketu, he superficially or seem to have offended or Mata Parvati by ridiculing or deriding or condemning the acts of Param Vaishnav Shambhu. Uh, it looks like he's condemning the acts of Bhagwan Shankar, apparently. So Durga Mata did not like this. And she cursed him to become demon. Now, does it explain to us? Does it not explain to us that why even as practicing devotees, we see the surge of the uprising of demonic qualities or the ignorance or the lack of knowledge in us? Why? Now, does it explain to us or not? The logic is this: when we find fault in other devotees, even though they may be practicing devotees, when we find the faults in other devotees, then this fault of fault finding is taken very seriously by Mata Durga, who is always very, very alert and expert on behalf of Bhagwan Krishna, her Lord, to humble us down. So she curses us with the surge of such demoniac qualities. And I tell you that seeing this material world as a very lucrative place is also a demonic quality, dear devotees. Because what essentially is a demonic quality? A demonic quality means lack of knowledge. Demonic quality means that Krishna is the enjoyer, but rather I will try to become the enjoyer. Right? Demonic quality is that continue fault finding. Demonic quality is means never appreciating devotees enough for their hard work, and rather हमारी सुई बस उनके सुपरफिशियल संस्कारों पे अगर टिकी रहती है बिकॉज ऑफ देयर संस्कार्स because of their past bad habits. Sometimes they show some uh, some sometimes they show their impressions of those sanskar, and we are just stuck with that. We don't see their hard work and uh, their struggle and their good seva. So these are all demonic qualities. So Mata Durga, she she does this arrangement. We should ask ourselves why, even though we are practicing, we are still seeing this this turn of events in which we are seeing this uh, the surge of is surge a right word? Is this flow of such unwanted qualities in me? I should ask this question to me: who is the one who is doing this? Even though I don't want this, who is the one who is doing this? So the answer is that is being done by Mata Durga, who is the warden of this jail, this Durg material world. Well, she is punishing non-devotees definitely, but for the devotees, she is on the behalf of Krishna. Krishna directs us to do it occasionally. So, what is the reason behind uh, this upsurge of such demonic qualities in us? The reason is because Krishna wants us to become humble and stop our fault finding acts. When we find the faults in others, this fault is the mother of all faults. And Bhagwan simply does not appreciate, because it is the defeat of Bhagavad culture. Right. Bhagavad culture means appreciation of devotees. If we simply appreciate devotees, even though we may be having plethora of all the other sinful qualities, but if we keep appreciating devotees more and more appreciation, then that actually impresses Krishna. So when we see the faults in ourselves, then we become vigilant and conversant. We understand, yeah, oh my God, I was seeing the faults in others, now I'm seeing the same faults in myself. So rather than fault finding any further, we start working on our own faults, and that leads us to more and more avenues of humility. We become more and more humble. We stop finding faults, because this fault finding, dear devotees, is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Sinful qualities are not as dangerous as this fault finding. Sinful qualities can definitely be forgiven by Krishna. In fact, in devotee, Krishna never minds traces or this karma of sinful qualities. Krishna does not mind. Krishna forgives, but this fault finding is something which irks him, and he immediately works upon it by directing Mata Durga to, for the time being, you do this thing. Let this devotee also find the same faults which he was looking in other devotees in himself, so that now he becomes humble and surrenders. This is precisely the reason that so the difference between the devotee and non-devotee is that practicing devotee and non-devotee is that non-devotees are very stubborn. Karana ho ya kuch bhi ho, rona dhona ho, they will never understand. But devotees, they definitely they learn their lessons, because ultimately it was planned for the same singular reason, so that we learn the lessons of humility. We learn the lessons, and all these lessons are beautiful lessons, that I should not have I should not have found any faults in these practicing devotees. Even if they are there, I should not condemn them. And now I'm seeing the faults in me, I should work upon them. Number three is that this material world is a very miserable place. This material world is a place of waves and so on. And I should stop this. Like in the ocean, sometimes a big wave seem to be followed by smaller waves. So sometimes we conclude now that this wave is the cause of those smaller waves. So similarly, here in this material world, we, as Prabhupada is saying, the cause and effect, we tend to discriminate, we tend to segregate the effects and the cause, saying that these effects are the lingering effects of that cause, but we don't understand that both the effects and the cause are actually waves which are already present in this material world in the form of these rays. कॉज और इफेक्ट के बीच ये जो हमारा ये oscillation है, it stops when we work upon ourselves rather than others. So the idea is that faults in others are more dangerous than faults in ourselves, which means finding faults in others is very dangerous, and finding faults in ourselves is good news. So if you are seeing faults in others, ourselves, we should not be afraid. But if we see faults in others, we should definitely be afraid. Very, very much afraid. If we see faults in ourselves, then that's a good news. Okay, that also requires mercy. We can work upon them. Unless we see the faults in ourselves, how can we work upon them? But if we see faults in others, then that's a very problematic situation. That's like a red alarm. Okay, so please let us take this resolution that we'll not see faults in other devotees, and we will see faults in ourselves, so that it will hasten our journey back to Godhead, and it will hasten our, or rather, it will dilute our existence here in this misery-giving material world. So now the real cause of Maharaj Chitraketu. Actually, Maharaj Chitraketu, as you already must have got the hint already, Maharaj Chitraketu is a pure devotee already, and he knows the exalted position of Lord Shiva. He will never condemn his acts, but sometimes Bhagwan Hari Krishna, he is Bhagwan Krishna is a very expert calculator. He knows how to, he does calculations on our consciousness.
Hare Krishna, I think we lost Srikant Prabhu from the gathering. We'll be back in a minute. Please be on hold.
When did you lose me? Hello?
Yeah, probably just a minute back.
Okay, not much, right?
Not much, yeah.
So what I was saying, then when Bhagwan Krishna wants to shower special kind of prema on his already exalted devotees, then he only makes these arrangements. That is the real reason in which a devotee sometimes gets cursed or sometimes gets superficially attached back to this material world, or again sometimes superficially he seems to be having demonic qualities. But the demonic qualities, these superficial demonic qualities in exalted devotees and these demonic qualities in practicing devotees like us, usme zameen asman ka antar hai. In the exalted devotees, like sometimes, when we have you seen a spring, when we suppress the spring and release the suppression, it reaches even more heights. So when a exalted devotee is suppressed like this by Krishna, then he reaches to even more heights of prema, million times higher. That is a version of verdict of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakurji. So when he is made a demon like this, or when Bharat Maharaj Ji is turned into a deer by Krishna, or when Parikshit Maharaj Ji is being cursed, all these are not the games of Durga Mata. Actually, these are the games of Krishna which he is doing through Mata Durga. He from the heart of Mata Durga uh, suppressed momentarily by cursing Chitraketu Maharaj, so that as Vrittasur he may attain to those more and more extremely confidential regions of prema, says Vrittasur. So this is a real reason. So when Maharaj Chitraketu is actually seemingly is superficially is condemning, actually is not condemning. Actually he's appreciating, he's glorifying the acts of Bhagwan Shiva, that uh, you are even in the assembly of sages sitting like this in a compromising position. And only you can do it because you are above all these things. You are brahmachari, you are above, you are Mahabhagavad, and so therefore it is not a fault in you. That was his attitude. But Parvati Maya, being instigated by Krishna, only cursed him. So that is the real reason. But however, we as practicing devotee, we should take lessons from this, that fault finding actually leads us to uh, different world wherein we see the faults in ourselves. So we should be very cautious and careful. And it is really very irony that we see faults in devotees and we see no fault in this material world. Isn't it an irony? We see faults in devotees and we see no faults in this material world. Even though the material world is time and again showing its furious and faulty nature, but we see no fault. That is purely because of our stubborn nature to enjoy like Krishna. So thank you very much. Most of the things have already been covered by other wonderful speakers. I'm only repeating what I learned from them. Hare Krishna.
So thank you, Prabhuji, for this nice class.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
our Shyamchandra Prabhuji is having a question. Shyamchandra, please.
Hare Krishna, dear Srikant Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Srila
Dandat
Sripad Maharaj, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, actually, I do not have any question. I just wanted to compliment your heartfelt class, because the class topic, was actually coming out so nicely, because I think the experience what you underwent in the recent times, that has been very nicely captured through this medium. So I think the message was very loud and clear and strong. I just wanted to share that, and thank you very much for giving a very important message to all of us on fault finding. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Govind Maharaj, please.
Hare Krishna, Srikant Prabhu, welcome back, and
Dandot Pranam Maharaji.
Dandot Pranam of Gosasla Sripad. Even your struggling is also very enthusing us. That it's like apparent downgrading, in the energy and everything is still the vigor is very intact. That's real.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. So you emphasize in class the apparent and real so wonderfully, all aspects covered about the apparent and real.
Thank you, Maharaj.
I have a question also. That
Question. Okay, Pranad, if you can ask the question, but I think I don't have much energy now to focus on questions. But I'll try.
It's all right. Don't worry, because you covered everything. I just want to share the perspective for you to elaborate. It's always a perspective,
Yes, Maharaj.
As I give the example that the simulations, all these episodes of Bhagavatam for the sadhakas, for the conditioned soul is for simulating, so that they don't befall, they don't become victim of the stalwarts. These are all the Parshadas. The three examples: Parikshit Maharaj and Bharat Maharaj, and these are very stalwart devotees. When they are playing the role, even Ravana or anybody, they are the eternal associates of Lord. When they are playing enacting some role, like in a drama, the observer, or those who look, or those who watch the drama, they take the lesson, and that we don't do those things. But naturally, when the associates of the Lord do the drama, the Lord's direct will is involved, and that's the real reason, as you said so wonderfully. So the thing is, although we hear these stories and dramas episodes and try to take lessons, but critical thing is for the practicing sadhaka devotees who are through the culture, they are trying to become, in the process of becoming yogurt from milk. This culture, we are in the culture of attaining a perfection, or and that's why sometimes these tendencies of conditional behavior in us. But the reaction, which how this King Chitraketu reacted in spite of being cursed, apparently.
Yes.
Really, there is a lesson that if I think I'm also as great or as other devotees, then I can watch that when I am insulted, when I am looked down upon, or if I'm exposed to my faults, how I react, that would be real crux. And it's amazing, in spite of being cursed, King Chitraketu, who has been directly blessed by God, and still he's totally equipoised. Rather, he asked for forgiveness, that Mother, whatever you say, I accept it wholeheartedly. And that's very staggering. That lesson, how we will imbibe. Same thing with Parikshit Maharaj, and he acknowledging whatever act he did, it was horrible, rather than justifying his position as a king. And why somebody would not welcome the king when he's thirsty? He's ruling and he's supporting the whole kingdom. His own greatness is not he's not using his own greatness or his own position of how blessed and how great he is. Rather, he is humbly submitting to the consequences. Could you elaborate on that aspect, that although we listen to Bhagavatam, we also think this aspect of how the stalwart devotees reacted to their apparent discursed or situation they had to face.
Is Maharaj asking me to like,
Help us.
what should we do? How should we also not react to,
Yeah, means yes.
yeah, to this, yeah. Well, that's a thing that we have to, that we are learning, and it may take life, a whole life, wherein we start seeing only positivity even in the uh, this apparent uh, fury, or no, I should not say fury, in this when our senior Vaishnavas, they stop or they are apparently displeased with us, or when they express their displeasure, and when they express their displeasure on us, that I'm not satisfied, or this or that, or so we should take it as an act of mercy, and that's where the real challenge is. So this bhakti yoga, which actually seems to be very easy yoga, other than other yogas, jnana yoga, karma yoga, and all this, that's where this bhakti yoga becomes challenging, wherein we see positivity even in such apparent challenging times, wherein we see that even when the Vaishnavas are, being displeased, or rather they are apparently angry on me, they are actually casting their mercy. When we reach that spirit, then that is a it's a very beautiful news. I mean, isn't it beautiful when we, even when the Vaishnavas are upset with us, and they are or what is that, rebuking us or reprimanding us, even those reprimanding acts, if we see the acts of mercy, then that actually symptomizes or infers that our consciousness has gone to very beautiful heights. That may take time, and that requires initially it requires coercion from us. We have to coerce ourselves. We have to like keep telling ourselves. We have to really we have to keep telling that this devotee, our seniors, when they are upset with us, we should not be let down. We should not be, we ourselves should not retaliate. It is their mercy only. And it is because, because they consider us as their own. If जहाँ अपनापन हो जाता है, when वहाँ पे उनको ये अधिकार मिल जाता है कि ये मेरा अपना है, तो इस पे मैं गुस्सा दिखा सकता हूँ. लेकिन जहाँ पे अपनापन नहीं होता, वहाँ पे फॉर्मेलिटी रहती है कि ओके, लेट्स कीप अप्रिशिएटिंग सो दैट ही शुड नॉट. तो वहाँ पे फॉर्मेलिटी होती है. बट व्हेन द फॉर्मेलिटी इज रिप्लेस्ड बाय अपनापन, बिलोंगिंगनेस, दैट नाउ ही इज मेरा छोटा भाई है, सो आई कैन reprimand him. So this reprimanding act, it should give us this that these senior devotees, they are considering me as theirs. So that's why they are feeling full liberty on reprimanding me, correcting me. So that should also give us avenues of joy and positivity. That's I'm essentially sharing with the audience the strategies which I follow. And sometimes when I am let down, when I am myself am so negative, why did my seniors say these things to me? Then I take a break, and still in that break I coerce, I force myself. No, Shrikant. try to understand that they are not your enemies, they are your real well-wishers. And in shortly, it may sometimes it takes weeks also, but if you keep telling yourself, then definitely you'll come to this conclusion that Vaishnavas, senior devotees are never inimical. They are always our well-wishers. Therefore, there in this senior and junior culture is very important. Just want to add two lines. That there was this one devotee who was in one of our meetings. He was suggesting that we should stop this senior and junior culture. We should be equal. Like ये सब इक्वल का जो चला है वहां से वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी से सब इक्वल हो जाए, लेकिन तो सीनियर और जूनियर कल्चर तो बहुत ही, यही तो भागवत कल्चर है. अगर सीनियर जूनियर कल्चर ही स्टॉप कर दिया तो मतलब भागवत कल्चर ही स्टॉप कर दिया, तो वी स्टॉप कॉलिंग आवरसेल्फ डिवोटीज. हरे कृष्ण महाराज जी.
That's most beautiful. But the idea is it when we say that for this exalted devotee, Krishna is coming in. Krishna is participating for their further advancement. So the lesson for us could be that when we are facing favorable time materially, and even in our devotional journey, and then is the lesson that we may not, our devotional mood or devotional attitude or devotional may not have been fully tested. So Krishna creates this to expose our reality of our devotion, to pose the adversity. It's seen in others. So when we are going through favorable time materially, there is a tendency to think that because I'm so blessed and I am so special, or I'm so senior, that I'm relishing or enjoying these facilities or these special privileges over others, and so that may not be a very healthy thought. Then this adversity comes by special mercy of Krishna. Then in real devotees, then they see it as a real mercy, because the favorable material situation could be more entangling, and he sees that Krishna has freed him from so much entangling and like that. So it's this observation and how this thing has to be perceived by the sadhakas, that we don't become overwhelmed, if this is a proper word, affected by the favorable material situations, because Krishna loves to test our devotional attitude, because he really wants to fully purify, like the gold has to be purified. They say 5 times when it is fully, like with the heat, it becomes fully purified. So naturally Krishna will have his ways to purify us, to intensify our attraction for Krishna, because Krishna loves this desperation in his devotees. Somehow this must be Krishna's nature, that he doesn't like anything ordinary. So ordinary, casual, because Krishna is supremely beautiful, he's supremely independent. He creates this special attraction in devotees for him, towards him, and that special attractiveness of Krishna is realized only in the circumstances of desperation. Is it so? Means this is Krishna. This is how we have to appreciate Krishna's nature, that he will do some funny things, so he will make things happen where ultimately he will raise the level of love of a devotee for him.
Definitely in exalted devotees. But for practicing devotees like us, we should not think that I'm seeing these demonic qualities because Krishna wants me to give special prayer. I'm seeing these demonic qualities. I'm seeing these bad qualities in me because I have found a fault in other devotees. In that act also, there is mercy of Krishna only. But our vision should be, but obviously even exalted devotees also think that way.
Yes.
Exalted devotees also, they think that they have offended, fault found, and actually exalted devotees for don't know what reason they think that they are always having some drawbacks. That's a vision of exalted devotees. And we practicing devotees, we think that we have no drawbacks. So that's very much where we have to work day and night.
So that's a great lesson that if one thinks that one is great, then he has to also think the way the great devotees think. That's the lesson ultimately, isn't it?
Yes, Maharaji.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Respect Maharaj, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam, Shrikant Prabhuji.
Dandot Pranam Maharaji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very happy that you have recovered enough to give a class. And we thank Guru Maharaj and Guru Gauranga for keeping you with us, and so that we can do nice seva. Yeah, this Corona is giving a lot of surprises. There are many other devotees and those who are close to devotees, friends, relatives, colleagues, those are living bodies. So our devotees are organizing these prayers from 4 to 8. Those who they can join anytime, or sometime at least you can join. Yesterday, our Vishal Maharaj's mother left because of COVID in the hospital in Bhubaneswar. So let us all pray. Let us all say Hare Krishna, pray to the Lord and Guru Maharaj by saying Hare Krishna on time to take care of her. Of course, she is already taken care because Vishal Maharaj is dedicated to Guru Maharaj. So, but still from our side, we can offer a prayer for her. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yeah, this COVID, even these mild symptoms, even the mild infection kind of gives such a jolt. So I am rather like, we can only imagine how this moderate and severe infection, what those people are going through, we can only imagine.
Yes, so today we do have this clarification session of our Radhacharan Prabhuji from evening 4 to 6, and the meeting details were already shared in the chat, and we request all our devotees to join. Shyam Kishore Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna, Shrikant Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for nice, wonderful class, and also the later conversation with Maharaj also. So when we were speaking about this, the the love and trust, with our co-members or the seniors or our authorities. So when some instructions or maybe just instructions are there or chastisement is there from the seniors or the authorities, so just want to add something. So that's why. So there is one important factor is there is, as Prabhupada said, that this movement will move forward on love and cooperation. So that relationship has to develop. No, especially water flows from higher level to downside. So it is very much expected that our seniors and our authorities have built that love and cooperation. No, the love is there because it's a voluntary organization. So nobody is paid to make work, do on force or on money strength that one. So this loving cooperation attitude is very much important. Then the person who is working under the seniors or authorities, it's very easy for him to accept the chastisement or follow the instructions with trust. So that was one my point. This thing. So it very much requires that our seniors and authorities, they have to give that love and trust. That time, then the people who are working under, the devotees working under, they will work with full trust, with no doubts or anything. Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, most of the time the love is there, but we fail to see love. Love is there. We have to. I can see my own ego. I can hear my echo from your. So love is there, but we think there is no love. That's again because of problem in us. ये चेस्टाइजमेंट भी लव का ही एक लिंब है. तो यही तो भक्ति योग में सबसे चैलेंजिंग थिंग है. And that what makes bhakti to be very difficultly achieved. When we don't see love even when there is love, and when we don't see positivity and love even in chastisement, that means it still is a far cry. But we slowly we work and work together. I think I'm not eligible enough to speak on this, but anyways.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So yes, like when we are learning something, like our parents used to say this, like they used to scold us so that we can learn things easy. So it is because of the love and affection towards us. So if every time they are trying, but rather we expect them to say it in a positive way, so that we also, because we want it in that way, whatever the reason that it is. I think that need to be clearly understood. So I used to think on like whenever a mother or parent sees that a child fall down from a cycle, like the immediate reaction the mother gets is like, she sees like, okay, my child has fallen down, and she tries to embrace the child, whereas the father, he used to scold so that he will become